Hello students, and hope all of you are fine. Today I am going to explain from the diary of Anne Frank of class 10. Anne Frank was born on 12th June 1929 and died around February-March 1945. She was a German Jew. The 13-year-old Jewish girl wrote the diary of Anne Frank while in hiding with her family and 4 friends in Amsterdam during the Nazis' occupation of Netherlands in World War II. After 2 years in hiding, the group was betrayed and transported to a concentration camp in Bergen, where Anne and her elder sister Margot died of typhus in 1945. Her father, Otto, the only survivor of the group, found her diary and got it published in English under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. The diary was given to Anne Frank for her 13th birthday and chronicles the events of her life from 12th June 1942 until its final entry on 1st August 1944. It was eventually translated from its original Dutch into many languages and became one of the world's most widely read books. There have also been several films, television, and theatrical productions, and even an opera based on the diary. It describes the work of a mature and insightful mind. The diary provides an intimate examination of daily life under Nazi occupation. Anne Frank has become one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. So let's begin. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me, not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old school girl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. So here Annie Frank thinks that writing a diary is a really strange experience for her. She has never written anything like this before. She feels that no one else except her will be interested in whatever she is writing. She writes it for herself. Whatever personal problem she has, she is trying to put it into the diary and trying to get it off her chest. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience, and since I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stiff backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. So this girl feels that paper and diary writing is better for her because she doesn't have a real friend, and whenever she gets a real friend, might be she will not have write a diary anymore. So she's now depressed and she's at home and she doesn't have anything else to do except sit and write in her diary. Now I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. So she has no friends, so she writes in a diary. She makes her diary her friend. Let me put it more clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world, and I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I'm with my friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I started writing the diary. So Anne says that she has around 30 people in her family whom she can call friends, her aunts, her loving family. She has parents, her sister, but still she's alone because she wants one close friend, but she doesn't have any friend of her own. And she can't confide, she can't tell her problems to anyone excepting her friend. That's why she started writing this diary, and she started calling her diary her friend, and she gave it a name also. And the name was Kitty. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do, but I want the diary to be my friend. I'm going to call this friend Kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty, if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Anne feels that nobody would understand her as much as a diary understands her, so she writes whatever she wants in her diary. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with a grandmother. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So Anne calls her father the most adorable person whom she has seen, and he married when he was 36 years old and her mother was 25. Her sister Margot was born in 1926 and she was born on 12th June, and they emigrated to Holland in 1933. She got her education over there, and her grandma died in the year 1942, and from then on Anne started writing her diary on 20th June 1942. I started right away at the Montessori Nursery School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Scuperus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heart-breaking farewell. So Anne Frank was staying with her grandmother, and when she was 6 years old, at the time she was sent to live with her father and mother and her sister, and so that was her last years in the school. Both she and her headmistress, both of them were really in tears when they were having a farewell and when they had to leave each other. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. So, in 1941, Grandma was ill, and at last she had an operation and she passed away in the year 1942. And Anne loved her grandmother, but nobody knew how much she loved her grandmother. And her birthday was also around that time, and so she could not celebrate it because her grandma was dead. The four of us are still doing well, and what brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. So the date on which she is writing the diary was 20th June 1942, and here she starts writing in her diary, "Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. half the class is making bets. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, CN and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet from morning to night. It's "You're going to pass." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are." "No, I'm not." Even G's pleading glances and my angry outbursts can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. So Anne says it's time for the teachers to decide who will remain in the same class and who will be promoted to the next class. And this time it's very difficult for anyone to find out whether they will be promoted or they will be kept back, because the decisions teachers take are completely unpredictable, because nobody can say what's going to happen. The entire class is betting over there whether they will pass or they will not pass, or whether they will be going to the next form or they will not be going, and everyone is looking at each other and they don't know what to expect. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So Anne Frank is worried about maths, and she's confident about all the other subjects. And she and her friends, they are trying to support each other, telling them, wait, we are going to make it. Okay? I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. So the teachers are deciding who will move up and who will be kept back, and she realizes that almost a quarter of the students in the class are all dummies and they should be kept back, and it's difficult to predict about the decision of the teachers. She is not much worried about herself and her friends, but she is not sure about maths. She has really good relations with all her teachers, excepting there's one teacher, Mr. Keesing, and he's a maths teacher, and he's an old fashioned teacher because she always goes on talking in his class and he doesn't like her talking. So what he did one day, he told her that just because of your going on chatting in the class, I'm going to give you an essay for homework, and that essay is on the title "A Chatterbox." You have to write it down and show it to me. Anne Frank noted down that title, "A Chatterbox." She put it in a notebook and she kept the notebook back into her bag. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing argument to prove the necessity of talking. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control. So when she went home, suddenly while doing her homework, she remembered that Mr. Keesing had given her an extra work of an essay on a chatterbox. She wrote 3 pages and she wrote in it that talking is something which students always do, and she says talking is something which is her right for students. She promises Mr. Keesing that she is going to keep her talking under control. But later on she argues that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit, since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and there's not much you can do about inherited traits. She writes in her essay that my mother also was very talkative, and actually you always inherit what your parents do, and that is one of her inherited traits from her mother. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, and when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he finally had enough. Anne Frank, as punishment for talking in the class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. So she says she tried to keep as quiet as she could in the class. According to her habit, she could not do that, and she was always talking sometime or other in the maths class. And at last, after 2 weeks, Mr. Keesing was so angry, so he gave her another essay to write, and this time it was an incorrigible chatterbox. One means a person who can never stop talking. Finally, as punishment for taking the class, he gives her another essay. Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox, because she was never able to keep quiet in the maths class. So he tried to give her punishment after punishment and made her write essays after essays. And all the topics were regarding her chatting. Her chatterbox is a person who talks too much. Now the whole class was laughing, and now she did not have any more things to write on the essays. All whatever she could think of, she had already written in both the essays. Now there was nothing more to be written, and now she thought, let me come up with something original. And this time her friend San, who's good at poetry, offered to help her to write the essay from beginning to end in the form of a verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. So now there were no more ideas in her head to write about the same topic again and again. And this time her friend San told, I'll help you, come on, let me help you, and let us write the whole essay in the form of a poem. And she thought, I'll show Keesing that I can write poems also on this subject. I finished my poem, and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing always making jokes these days. Yours, Anne. So the class was always laughing when Mr. Keesing went on giving her assignment after assignment regarding chatterboxes, and she had to write essays. And this time she was helped by her friend San, and she was able to write a very good poem on the chatterbox topic. And this time the poem was all about a mother duck and a father swan who had 3 baby ducklings, and the father was very angry with the ducklings because they used to quack too much, and he always bit them. And whenever he bit them, at last the father duck had bitten the ducklings so much that they died. And this was the essence of the poem which Anne Frank had written and given to Mr. Keesing. So what was the hidden meaning there? Don't ask me to keep quiet, because if I don't talk, I'll die. That was what she wanted to say. And Mr. Keesing understood the message, and it was put it in a right way. And from that time, Mr. Keesing took her poem and read it in almost every class of his, and he allowed her to talk, not too much, but a little bit in his classes. And from that time onwards, he never gave her any extra homework. And then a strange change came over Mr. Keesing, and he started making many jokes in the class, and he started allowing everyone else also to enjoy in his class. So this was an extract from the young girl's diary. Thank you one and all. See you in the next